What's something most men don't know they can do? Story 1. Raise a child without the mom. I lost everything when she left. I just showed up for my boy no matter what. We bonded beyond anything I thought was possible. The system believes they belong with the mom. This doesn't mean you can't do it. Just dig, no matter what, forever. He's snuggling his girlfriend and puppy on the couch right now and playing Minecraft. I guess I haven't done it perfectly. Reply. I literally just ended it with my wife an hour ago. With a handful of grade school age kids, I'm low-key relieved, but absolutely terrified. This comment is the first thing I'm seeing on when I Googled some questions, and damn it, it feels divine. Thank you so much for sharing this. Story 2. After my divorce, I applied for custody of my daughter. My daughter was 2, and it went to her mom. The day before her 12th birthday, she ran in through my front door, screaming her eyes out. On her face was a handprint. She had several bruises and was missing clumps of hair. When I asked her what happened, she just replied, "Mom." She begged me not to send her back, and I explained to her that the only way I could do that was if I took her to the police station, which I did. We were separated immediately, which at first angered me, but afterward I understood. They asked me what happened as they took measurements of my hand. After several hours, my daughter and I left the station after being told they were going to arrest my ex. Long story short, I got full custody, and it was the best thing that happened to us both. We quickly got into a routine. She'd do her homework as I cooked, we both did housework together, and life was really good. About 3 weeks later, I was called into her school to be told she was a different child. It wasn't all a fairy tale, especially when boys started turning up at the door. But as my grandmother used to say, you don't own your children, just borrow them. Well, if this isn't the plot twist of the century. 1 minute you're in a courtroom losing custody, and the next thing you know, you're Father of the Year with a PhD in parenting, and the school's giving you a standing ovation. I'm not saying it's like winning the lottery, but I bet there were some happy tears and a little dad dancing going on. Just remember, kiddo, if a boy shows up at the door, unleash your inner mama bear. Story 3. Be victimized. Be SA'd. Be abused in all forms. It doesn't have to be physical. I want to highlight that. Just like when women are getting abused by a partner, it doesn't need to be physical to be abuse. She doesn't have to be kicking the shit out of you for it to count, boys and men. Please know this. Gaslighting, coercive control, you must do X or she will do Y, emotional and mental abuse are all abuse, even if she never lays a hand on you. If she's bullying you with words, deriding your appearance or personality, or making fun of you, or accusing you of things so you always have to be creeping around on eggshells, isolating yourselves from friends and family, not helping you go no contact but actively preventing you from seeing them, if she's telling you you're not good enough, or no other woman will want you, etc., it's toxic as f***. And if any guy reading this is wondering if that's enough reason to cut and run from a woman who is that to them, run! Please, run! You can run! You can leave that! You don't deserve to be treated like Story 4. Seek mental health support. I have PTSD and panic disorder. For about 6 years of my life, I've been adamant that I've had a heart condition, and it ruined my life on a daily basis. No doctor could tell me how I felt, or that there was nothing wrong. I would end up in the hospital with chest pain, shortness of breath, and all the symptoms of a heart attack, but nothing would show in my blood tests or ECGs. After some time, it turned out to be a panic disorder that therapy fixed. I still have them, but they're much easier to manage. Seek help, fellas. It'll do you a world of good. Well, look at that. You went from being convinced you had a heart condition to discovering it's a panic disorder. And now you're basically a mental health superhero. You're out here telling people to seek help. And honestly, we need more of that. So keep spreading the good word, my friend. May the force of therapy be with you always. Story 5. Wear makeup, do skincare routines, and do nails. I'm not saying everyone needs to look like a drag queen. Would be fun, though. I've just met so many men who feel so insecure about their jaggedy nails, their acne, how clothes look and fit, their under-eye bags, brows, etc. I've seen it make some men insecure because it's constantly on their minds. But all of those problems can be fixed super easily while looking very natural. The main hurdle to jump is choosing to do something that will make you feel good, not make other men approve of your masculinity. It's also not in vain to take care of yourself or put effort into your appearance. Putting effort into your looks is a great way of showing up for yourself and showing yourself that you're worth the effort. Story 6. Turn their life around after prison. For me, it was mainly my dad. He was in jail for about 15 years, 10 consecutive, and wasn't really there when I was a kid. But back in 2017, he got out, bounced around from job to job, but found a great paying job doing welding work. Some people think that once they're out, they can't get jobs and no one wants to hire them. Trust me, you can. I've seen how far along my dad has come within these last few years, and he's doing better than my mom has in the last 21. Wow, your dad went from inmate to welder extraordinaire. It's like he traded in his prison jumpsuit for a superhero cape. Just goes to show that it's never too late for a second chance. Keep sharing your dad's success story. It's a great reminder that people can overcome their past and create a bright future for themselves. Story 7. Be girly or do girly things. I'm a combat veteran and mechanic, yet my favorite hobbies are gardening, painting, and collecting wildflowers in a scrapbook. Life is short, really short. Don't let some misguided preconceptions stop you from enjoying anything. Genuine people will respect you and fools will mock you. Story 8. Shave body hair. I was on the swim team and shaved in high school because all the other guys said it would make you faster. Certain areas make life better. For one, armpits are a life changer. Antiperspirant is 10 times more effective on bare skin, and that makes a huge difference. I heard a woman complain about societal pressure for women to shave their armpits, and my reply was that it is entirely justified, and the real problem is that men are not. Make the world less stinky. You can do it. Ah, the great body hair debate. Turns out the swim team was onto something with that shaving ritual. Who knew armpit aerodynamics could be the key to a less stinky world? So folks, let's make a splash and join the fights against the hairy pits of doom. It's time to embrace smooth underarms because we all deserve antiperspirant that works like a charm. Remember, the only thing holding us back from a fresher tomorrow is a razor and a bit of shaving cream. Dive in and let's make a difference, one pit at a time. Story 10. I've been working on my anger management lately, and honestly, I've found the best thing is expressing not just anger, but all my other emotions. Even trying to resent happiness or enjoyment in the effort to try and achieve the societal norms of what other men deem manly definitely led to resentment, and in turn leads to anger. It has made me much more zen as a person, stronger as a friend and partner, and just generally happier now that I'm presenting my emotions in a much healthier way. Story 11. Go to a ladies' hair salon and have them wash your hair. I have very long hair, haven't cut it in 4 years due to hippie reasons, and it was probably the best experience I've had in a public setting in years. Also, if your hands and skin dry out, use cocoa butter or cocoa butter-based lotion. Having up skin doesn't make you manly. Story 12. Be an amazing single dad. My friend's parents got divorced when he was 5. I asked him if it was hard without a mom, and he said, nope, my dad is the best parent in the world. Thanks to him, I don't need a mom. I only need my dad. Story 13. Crying. It is so important to really show how you feel inside. I think it makes you stronger and can help to heal wounds. Sadly, our society still places too much negativity on this matter for men, which is stupid IMO. My former boyfriend, whose dad died, never cried about it because he thought that now he had to be the man in the house. Years later, he had a breakdown because he never really processed his father's death. So please, men, you can and should do it if you need. Story 14. Poop without peeing. Sauce. As a military member, one is often forced to pee in front of an observer when getting tested. In a recent test, I and another individual were worried since we both had to shit that during a urine analysis is a faux because no grown man making less than $50K a year wants to watch another man shit. Me and the other individual, a 55-year-old enlisted man, did what we thought was impossible. We went and took a but held our pee in, thus saving it to provide to the Department of Defense and not having to chug another gallon of water and wait another hour. It was a strange sensation. We both marveled that it was something we had never done before, but we bonded over our combined success. Defying the odds and achieving the unthinkable. Pooping without peeing. It's like unlocking a hidden superpower nobody ever thought existed. In the face of adversity, you and your comrade pulled off a legendary feat, forever cementing your place in military bathroom history. May your tale inspire future generations to aim for the impossible and push the limits of human bladder control. Story 15. Was once in an online discussion where several women were baffled at the idea that the men in their lives can be in a state of not thinking about anything, as in mind cleared, just nothing. The concept that one can think of nothing is baffling to them. For me, it's like a meditative white void, which can stave off boredom because you clear your mind not to think or feel anything. This is the first time I had discussed it as if it was just a men's thing. It sort of explains it a bit when my sister wonders how I can not be bored about doing or thinking about nothing. I guess the alternative version is that the meme was a woman pondering what sick or ponderous thoughts her man must be thinking, but in reality he is thinking of the most trivial nonsense thing. Story 16. Change. It takes effort and it takes commitment, but you can change something about yourself you don't like. Personally, mine was my attitude. I was a gigantic until I realized I was tired of being angry all the time and hating myself, started Zoloft, and started giving myself time to think about things before I got mad. I still remember the first time my girlfriend called me out on my better attitude. I realized I had changed a little, and it was working. A lot of guys think just because they aren't teenagers anymore, they can't do things differently. You can. It just takes time. I still work through some issues, and life isn't perfect, but I'm happier now than I was then. Might not be much, but I'll take it. Story 17. Being a dad even when the child isn't yours. My best friend's sister was falling on hard times, and I had just bought a 3-bedroom house. She calls me up one day and asks if she and her 6-year-old daughter could move in till things get better. I said sure, no prob. They lived with me for 6 years while her mom went to college, worked, and saved up enough to buy a house. We were never romantically involved at the time, and it never really crossed our minds. When her daughter turned 10, I saw her going through the same struggles I did at that age growing up without a dad. I wanted to do something I wish I had someone do for me. So I sat her mom down and asked if it would be okay if I became dad and took that role. It was a strange dynamic because her mom and I were just good friends and not romantically involved at the time, but I was willing to make it work. She said, let's ask her daughter. So we did. My daughter is 23 now, and I'm still a dad and always will be. The craziest thing is, after sitting down one day last year, her mom and I got to talking and came to the realization that we've known each other for 30 years, lived together for 6, parted ways under good terms, lived our own lives, but we always came back together and were constants in each other's lives. We got married last November and have never been happier. Well, folks, how about that wholesome roller coaster of a story? Our hero here goes from being the landlord with a heart of gold to taking on the role of an honorary dad. Who said you need romance to make a family work, am I right? And just when you thought this tale couldn't get any sweeter, boom. Plot twist. The mom and dad duo realize they've been playing the long game and finally tie the knot. Andy Fam wishes you all the best. Story 18. Be friends with women. I have plenty of female friends, and it's awesome. And yes, you might be attracted to them, but the more you befriend other women, you realize which ones are attracted to you and which ones are not by the way they act around you. Do they laugh at the you say? Do they tap you on the arm? Do they go for hugs? Are they down to go out only with you? Then maybe they're attracted to you. If they don't do that, congrats! You have a female friend. And it's so nice to be able to be more emotionally open and vulnerable to a friend, and not just your SO. Story 19. Express their emotions in healthy ways. I'm still not great at it, but letting myself feel my emotions, acknowledge those feelings, and actually examine where they come from has helped me become a much better person than I used to be. As a strange side effect, I now cry during the emotional parts of movies. It's still kind of embarrassing, to be honest. Story 20. I was uncle/dad to my orphaned niece for the last decade. I didn't have any family within 1,000 miles for support. I barely even knew her when I took her in, and wasn't just single at the time, but a virgin. She just moved out this weekend at 20 years old on good terms. She has 4 older half-siblings, and between them and her parents, she's the only one to graduate high school. She's caring, thoughtful, trustworthy, and all I could have hoped she would become by now. I'm still single, though have had a few girlfriends since, but never anyone in a maternal role. I don't give a what anyone says. A man can care for, love, and raise a child on his own. Empathy is not relegated to a single gender. Well, folks, here's the proof that being an uncle or dad is like an extreme sport, but with a heartwarming twist. Who said you need to be a parenting expert to raise an amazing kid? Our man over here went from flying solo to being a one-man support system, all while rocking the single dad title like a champ. Story 21. I recently relearned what I had forgotten or didn't notice about my confidence when I was younger. I wasn't a very confident kid, wasn't popular, whatevs. At a point in this, I found a sweet spot for my confidence. I didn't notice it at the time, but friends were everywhere, and everyone, including girls, didn't have a problem with it. Years later, I had lost what I had, and I'm currently rebuilding my self-confidence. In just a couple of months, I've come a long way, and others have noticed. Story 22. You can feel it. You can show emotions. I was born and raised to hide my emotions and never show them. To be reserved, to feel as if I was weak if I showed any sign other than resilience. You'll feel much better if you let things out. Please talk to someone, even though it may feel uncomfortable. You're never alone in your struggles. I promise you this. Story 23. Groom and clean themselves without fear of being considered effeminate. A friend of mine recently complained that her boyfriend refuses to touch his own ass while in the shower or bath. And I was shocked to hear some men still have some weird misconceptions about proper hygiene and what it says about their masculinity. Hopefully these are outliers. Please let them be outliers. Story 24. Cry in your friend's arms if you need to, or even if you're not in the same area. Cry down the phone. My best friend was a bit younger than me when we started becoming friends. Within a few months, there was an experience that was very stressful for him. And the nights before and after, he just had to cry on the phone to me. I didn't tell him, don't cry, or be a man. I just was there. And like a year later, he did the same for me. I always make sure my friends know they can do that with me. Please leave your story down below in the comments. I would absolutely love to make a video about them in the future. And also, don't forget to like and subscribe. And until next time, peace.